Hey guys, what's up? It's Mike here with another review. Today, or this video, I'm gonna be reviewing something that came out a while ago. I believe it came out back in 2004-ish. It came out a long time ago. 2008 actually. First printing was 2008, so not that long ago, about 3 years ago, 3 years ago. Um, I'm gonna be reviewing my hardcover edition of Spider-Man Blue by Jeph Loeb and Tim Sal. Spider-Man Blue. So a little background information on this. This isn't actually part of the Amazing Spider-Man. It didn't have a run in Amazing Spider-Man. Jeph Loeb and Tim Sal, they're a very, very famous duo in comics. They've done a lot of projects together. Long Halloween, Dark Victory. What else did they do? They did a whole bunch of other stuff. I just can't remember all of a sudden. But basically, so they're they're very well known for their Batman. Their Batman works are considered some of the best Batman stories ever told. And Jeph Loeb is a great writer. He has his ups and downs. Sometimes he has poor. If he writes iffy. Sometimes Tim Sal's a great artist. His art's interesting. You can't always tell it's Tim Sal's artwork. So when they also did projects for both Superman and Marvel, not Superman, DC and Marvel. And for their Marvel projects, they did what their color line of books. Basically, they took major characters and created standalone stories. So so far, what's out is Spider-Man Blue, Daredevil Yellow, Hulk Gray, and Captain America White, which was slated to be released like 5 years ago, but it's been in like limbo forever. So stretch. So Spider-Man Blue. So this story is it's a very, very touching story. I feel it's touching. Some people are creeped out by it a little bit. It starts off. I'm just gonna go over a basic plot. The whole gist of it is what can I say? The whole gist of it is Peter Parker. It's Valentine's Day, and he finds a tape recorder, and he sort of records a message to Gwen Stacy, his first girlfriend. And it's a very touching story to begin with. He finds himself going to the Brooklyn Bridge, I believe, where she dies. It's Brooklyn or George Washington, I always forget. But he goes to the bridge where he dies and leaves a rose for her. So he finds like a tape recorder, and he basically records a message to her, and the story is told from Peter's perspective, from when he first started going out with Gwen Stacy. So it's essentially the build up to his relationship with Gwen Stacy. There's the introduction of MJ in it, the introduction of Flash and Harry, all their most of their friends, and it's sort of how do I say it? And throughout the book, Peter faces different villains in each issue. He fights the Rhino. He fights the Vulture, I believe. He fights two Vultures at the same time. He fights Kraven. He fights the Green Goblin. Yeah. And it's basically just Peter arriving to the person that fell in love with Gwen Stacy, and it's really touching how he talks about all the ups and downs he goes through of the story. The first issue, it's him fighting the Green Goblin. He defeats him, and sort of and throughout the book he is Peter Parker the nerd. He's still in high school. He's still that guy that he's sort of the social outcast, but at the same time everyone wants to know him because he's Spider-Man. Everyone loves Spider-Man, but not Peter, and he's still in that limbo of trying to balance his superhero life with his normal life. Like he shows up to places beat up. He gets sick because he gets knocked out in the snow. It's really interesting. Story wise, basically it ends up with Peter telling his story about how he fell in love with Gwen, and how they started dating, and it essentially ended up with Peter getting an anonymous Valentine. And when Gwen sees him, she comes out. She's like, "Will you be my Valentine?" And Peter describes it as my funny Valentine. That's what he considers her, because it was truth be told, Peter didn't expect to get something like that. You know, a Valentine's Day card. And the book itself is amazingly written. There are like some amazing lines that I wish, like, if like that people have to read this book. I had the hardcover. I bought this like a year ago, 2 years ago. But you know, the soft cover is out. You should read the soft cover. This is amazing. But like, there's some amazing lines, and the one that I think sums up this book is, it's about remembering someone so important to me. I was going to spend the rest of my life with her. And that sort of just sums up the whole like idea of this. Like, but I'm sorry, skipping ahead. At the end of the book, basically, is Peter talking into this tape, as I said, tape recorder, and he's discussing, he's like, whenever it gets around this time of the year, he sort of feels blue, and not in the sort of like, by blue as in like jazz blue, like dipped in blue, you know, just, you know, the jazzy sadness. And MJ walks in, and Peter's telling Gwen, he's like, you know, after you died, I said some things to MJ that, you know, that were sort of mean, and if you know what happened, I'll go over in a little bit. Yeah, he was a mean person, but, and then he says and mentions how MJ was the one who taught him how to love again, because, you know, Gwen Stacy was his first love, and no one forgets their first love. But MJ walks in, and Peter is surprised. He asks, you know, how long he's been there. She's been there for a while, and Peter's like, I'm sorry. I mean, I know. And MJ, you know, she was friends with Gwen, and I think Jeph Loeb does it, like, ends it on a perfect note. You know, MJ says, Peter, tell Gwen I miss her too. And the book ends with the line, and for a long time, when a girl I knew with an incredible smile and so much good in her made me think life can be great. But at the same time, so yeah, so this book is just very touching. Some people are weirded out by the fact that Peter's talking to Gwen. I don't say it like that. Like, okay, like Gwen was his first girlfriend, but Gwen is his first love, and not only that, she was one of his biggest failures and regrets. He failed when saving her, and when she was, like, he was there, he couldn't save her. Like, it's different from Uncle Ben. Uncle Ben, that was an accident, but it was which was his fault, but it was an accident. This is just like the Green Goblin throws her off the bridge, and he tries to save her and fails, and it's something he carries with him even now until amazing, like, Dan Slott run of Ming Spider-Man. There's a scene in one of the recent issues where Peter sees Gwen. He's dreaming or having a nightmare, and he sees Gwen, and he's chasing after her, and he's trying to get, you know, try to talk to her, but, you know, it's a dream, so it's just like trippy. But this book isn't supposed to be weird, and I don't see it as weird. I see it as a man who has his wife, who he loves, like he will die for, but at the same time, this is a girl who taught him so much about love, and about just being, about life, how life can be, like, as he says, life can be great. And this is a person that he will remember for the rest of his life. Like, you know, this was his first love, and this is his ode to her. Like, this is how he plans to remember her, because he's carrying this great burden, and MJ knows this too. Like, he's carrying so much on his shoulders, so much, like, pain and sadness and regret, and this is a great way for him to sort of to come to terms with that. At the same time, try to tell this girl that he loves, and that will never stop loving, that, you know, this is how my life's been going, and, you know, I still miss you. Like, you know, no matter what happens, like, you know, you're gone and I miss you. So story-wise, this book is amazing. I really like it a lot. There's points where it gets a little bit, like, weird, It sort of ties in with the main Spider-Man, but it just stands alone on itself. If you pick it up, you don't need to know anything about Spider-Man. Pretty much, this book stands for itself. Like, you're introduced to the characters. You know, Peter's Peter. You talk about Gwen, how she's dead, and this is the build-up. And Jeph Loeb does a great job about that. Like, he's a great writer when it comes to this type of standalone story. Art-wise, Tim Sal has a very interesting art style that's very recognizable if you've read his works. He draws his men sometimes very muscular. I can't really describe it, but his lines are very thin. His hands, he draws hands it's very recognizable. I can't really, like, just go, if you look up his artwork, he did the artwork for Heroes, the TV show on, I believe, NBC. And there's some iconic moments in this book that Tim Sal takes from John Romita Sr., who is the artist for Amazing Spider-Man. Like, if you think of Amazing Spider-Man, like, he is the artist. Him, Steve Ditko, they molded what is Spider-Man. And there are some iconic moments from, for example, when Peter first meets Mary Jane. You know, that line, "Face a tiger, you just hit the jackpot." You know, Tim Sal takes a leaf out of Romita's book and puts his own spin on the image, which is amazing. He takes his own spin on the image of the Amazing Fantasy 15 cover, Spider-Man swinging with someone under his arm. This is Flash in the book. You know, he puts his own spin on it, and it's very good. And not only that, he draws his characters they're very attractive looking. They're very recognizable. You know, Peter looks like Peter Parker. Like, you can recognize him. Spider-Man, he's very, very heroic looking. At the same time, he draws his females very attractive. Mary Jane and Gwen, they're very attractive in his book. In this book. Not only that, so that's pretty much how the book ends. Peter and, sort of finish recording, about his life, or his life, and the rest of the book is about just the artists, Jeph Loeb and Tim Sal's thoughts about how they crafted each issue and the story. And basically, it's Jeff talking about how he wanted, they're talking about covers and just talking about art and how they wanted this to be sexy, a sexy book, but at the same time, a touching book. And you can see that throughout the story, especially with the way all the characters interact, and just the way the characters just look. It's one of the best looking Spider-Man stories in a while. And I hope Tim Sal, who I don't know if he's doing a project right now, I hope he does a project on Marvel. I believe he did a Detective Comics run for DC. I don't remember what his last Marvel project was, but I hope he does. He gets an ongoing, or just even a mini arc series in a book, because his artwork is very, very good. So this book I bought for about $20 at my local comic book store. It's around that much if you buy it online. But yeah, it's worth the buy. It's worth the read, especially worth the read for you. I'm a sucker for happy endings, and at the same time, this book touches me a lot. It's a sad book. It's sort of sad, but you also get that feeling the world could be a better place, and Jeph Loeb does a great job of conveying that. So as for I'm not gonna give it a rating. It's gonna be I'm saying this is a buy. You should buy this book. It's a great something to have in your collection. But at the same time, if you don't have money, it's a great read. Buy it or read it. I recommend buy it, but you should definitely read it. Read it and just sit a while and just see how it resonates within you. If any of you guys have read it, or tell me your thoughts about it. One of my friends has read it, and he really loves it. And every time I say that line, the one that pretty much sums up the book is about remembering someone. He's always like, that was a great read. He's like, thanks. So buy it, read it. Just you guys should. This is a great book to experience. So are the rest of the color series. If you can find them, yeah, you should read them. I have Daredevil Yellow. Personally, have all the issues. I don't have a hardcover. Them collected, but Daredevil Yellow is a great read too. I've read Hulk Gray. I don't really like it. It's okay. I just never liked the Hulk as a character. And Captain America White, I just is never coming out. So thanks for watching, guys. This is a great book. I'm sorry I don't have any artwork to show. There's not really artwork. Like, I didn't want to scan it or damage my book. But thanks for watching. Let me know your thoughts on the video. And if you read this, come back and let me know your thoughts on the book. Send me a message or leave a video about what you think about it. And if you think I'm wrong, that this book is like creepy and dumb, let me know that. You know, everyone's entitled to an opinion. I would love to hear your opinion, like to talk to you guys about it. Thanks for watching. Enjoy your books and whatever you're reading. Let me know what you're reading. I'd love to give it a read and maybe give a review if you'd like. Thanks for watching.